Welcome to Later is Greater, Women Over 60 Embracing Life. I'm Stella, your host. I'm so glad you chose to be here today because we're continuing the conversation around the very important subject of living authentically. There's nothing more beautiful in our lives than being true to ourselves, being who we were meant to be, and the older we get, the more precious that life becomes to us. The conversation today is about discovering your personal set of values after 60. Why is that even important? Because when you reach 60, you are not the same woman that you were in your 30s, 40s, or even 50s. For most women, those central years are years that we make a home, and that has traditionally been something that women are supposed to do for others. But by the time we reach 50, we aren't the same person anymore. We start realizing that there's a part of our life that we want to live that we haven't lived yet. Notable women over 60 are unapologetic about who they are. And usually by the time they reach that place, their marriages are either solid and intact or they're over. The examples I can give you is Jane Goodall, Julia Child, J.K. Rowling. There are so many countless women who have achieved their greatest accomplishments after the age of 60. And that is because we change. We're no longer the same young woman, and we're setting boundaries and we're redefining the way we want to live. So yes, women over 60 must redefine their core values. It's the essence of who they are. It's easy to get distracted by others' ideals and claim them as your own. Personally, I can only say that when I got married, I espoused all of my partner's values, and I didn't give a second thought to what I wanted. It was the good of the couple. Then children came, managing a home, raising a family, and before you know it, your own set of principles are not even on your radar anymore. Once you start reaching the age of 60, even in your 50s, you start wanting things for yourself. And the minute you start making yourself a priority, you become an inconvenience to everyone around you who is used to you filling in that role of making things work for them. So what must you do in order to get over this hurdle? The first thing you need to do is not just set a boundary and define it clearly with those around you. You need to explain in practical terms what it is that you would like them to do that will help you achieve your own goals, that will help you accomplish what you've set out to accomplish in a reasonable way. Once you reach the age of 60, you are pretty clear on what it is you will accept and you will not accept. In other words, you know where to draw the line in the sand, and that boundary is a non-negotiable boundary. So this is why knowing your values, your set of personal core values, is so important going forward in this next exciting chapter of your life. I learned firsthand what happens when you neglect yourself so much. Because I had discarded my own values, I had to do a lot of inner work to reacquaint myself and stop being a people pleaser. It was a real struggle, and it brought on emotions like frustration, depression, and anger. I have a feeling many of you can relate because based on my coaching experience with women of this demographic, by the time we're 60, we have lived life, and we know when things are not in alignment, or even worse, when they go against our own values. But the big question is, what are we going to do about it? To start, your values are simply the things that are most important to you at the core of your being. It's that unwavering belief in what you stand for. When you know your values, you can live an authentic life, doing what's most important to you, and you'll feel more comfortable with shedding relationships that require you to go against your personal values. A method that I have used in identifying my values is to imagine my future. It sounds funny, but if you take time to reflect on different areas of your life, where do you see yourself as you get older? What are the things that are most important to you, and what do you hope to accomplish in life? Answering these questions will help you discover your values. These are big questions, and you can't tackle all of them. However, what you can do is select a few that you know are your highest priorities. That way, you can feel confident that you're nurturing the most important parts of your life. Let's break this down together. I will offer a couple of suggestions here, and you'll see which ones resonate with you, and you might want to journal that. For example, adventure. Do things seem too stale for you? Are you finding yourself easily bored? Do you have an adventure close to your heart that you'd be willing to try? A new experience or a new way of doing everyday things? It doesn't have to be something thrill-seeking like skydiving. It could be something as simple as, well, here's a pipe dream that I have. An adventure I'd like to do is to go to see Georgia O'Keeffe's Ghost Ranch in Santa Fe. That has always been a dream of mine. Visualization is the way that I am looking at this because I've done the research. You go onto YouTube, you look at all the things that are pertaining to that dream you want to achieve. You visualize yourself being there. What has to happen? What pieces have to be in place in order for you to do that? This is what I mean by an adventure. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It could be something as simple as a trip you want to take. The next most common core value is the value of relationships in your life. Not just the romantic ones, your friends, other family members. If that is an important value to you, it means that you build your life around holding those interactions with your loved ones to be the most important things in your life. Spirituality is another important core value. If you align with a certain religion or a spiritual practice, then beliefs about that practice are likely very important and close to your heart. You may find greater fulfillment by spending time studying that aspect of your belief and maybe practicing certain spiritual explorations. It could be taking one of those long hikes in Spain, which is called Camino de Santiago. I know several friends of mine who have explored their spirituality through that type of an activity. Creativity, that's an important value for many of us. Creative thinking helps the world, not just you personally, but it isn't a core value for everyone. If you enjoy discovering and creating new things, perhaps this is one of your important core values. Thinking outside the box while other people do things in a routine way is something that you probably enjoy. It could also be exploring music, poetry, painting. Again, the creative aspect of your life is a very important one. So that might be something that you need to align better to give you more fulfillment in your everyday life. Another important value is making a mark on the world or the legacy that you leave behind. Most people will say that in the end, they just want others to remember them in a nice way. But there are many ways that you can make your mark in the world. You can help others through volunteer work. You can create something new to help your community. You can be a positive influence on even just one person. So this is something else that you can reflect on and consider and brainstorm for yourself. What is it that is important to you as far as leaving a legacy? How do you want people to remember you? All you really need to do in order to discover your values is find what makes you truly happy. Then you ask yourself, why does that make me so joyful? What is it about that? And those answers, those details will lead you to a core value of yours. If you feel like your life has taken a wrong turn, you can figure it all out by thinking about your future. It's easier said than done. This is what we mean when we say inner work. And that's part of what I have been talking about in this podcast. The inner work includes your authentic life. And what is your authentic life? I think this is really an important exploration in our lives after the age of 60 because, as we said earlier, there are so many things that change in our life. And by the time we're 60, we're not the same person. To help you along with this, I put together a beautiful reflection document called My Values Shape My Destiny. Use it as a tool to explore how values influence your decisions and your goals. There is a corresponding video to this podcast in my playlist on my YouTube channel called Discovering Your Authentic Self After 60. You can go there for additional insights on this. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so happy that you stopped by and you took time out of your busy day to listen in. It means a lot to me to encourage women of my generation to step into their power and live a fulfilled life. I'll be waiting for you in the next episode. We will be going through 15 questions that can help you discover what you're passionate about. That's an interesting episode. I hope you'll join me next week. Until then, have an empowered day.